It's December, and that means Ask Dash. Let's get into another one. Hey yo, this is Dash, and welcome back to the Ask Dash 2022 series. We should be on video number 18, and today's questions, it's a two-part question, because I figured, or I hoped, that I could answer these questions kind of quickly. So the first question comes from One Brother's Mind. He says, what is the best way to store barbecue ribs and chicken after smoking them for sale the next day? What's your way, and what's your reheating for sale process? So you have to pardon, I'm having some work done on my bathroom, and they're cutting tile right now. Anyway, what's the best way to store barbecue ribs and chicken? Now, okay, so after smoking them for sale the next day. So if I'm cooking them on a Friday to sell them on Saturday, I probably, and I'm gonna give you two things. The first thing is, I usually just wrap all of my things up in foil pans, cover them with foil, and that's pretty much it. I don't do anything really spectacular or special, especially if I know that they're gonna be cooked, or if they're going to be used the next day, excuse me. Now, I have seen some places that will take plastic wrap and they will wrap food in plastic wrap and store it that way for when it actually gets served or reheated and served to the public. As far as reheating, the reason I put them in aluminum pans is so that I can take said aluminum pan, put it right back into the oven or into the warmer or whatever the case may be, and serve from there or heat everything from there, and I'm not taking and handling that food multiple times. I can take the food once it's done, put it into foil pans, kind of stack everything in the pans, get everything wrapped up tightly in foil, put it in the refrigerator, let it cool. When I know that I'm getting ready to pull food out to be served the next day per se, I'm going to take that pan and put it directly into the oven, or I'm going to take that pan, like if I'm on site at a doing a catering event, I can take that and use a commercial oven or a commercial warmer or something along those lines, and I can put that food directly in there, so I'm not having to handle it so many times. So that's usually my process. Let me make sure I got everything. And as far as reheating, I normally suggest you reheat things the way you cook them, between 250 and 300 degrees for about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on just how cold things are. You really want to make sure, food safety wise, most food or all food has to get back to 165 degrees. But I won't say within reason. Just keep an eye on things to make sure that the edges aren't getting burnt or anything like that. When you're reheating things, kind of like the edge would get crusty on a macaroni and cheese. Though some people like that, so it is what it is. Okay, so part number 2 for this, it's coming from Rod, and is it Ardiger, or excuse me, R-G, or Argerter? Argeter? I'm sorry, I'm butchering this. A-G-E-R-T-E-R. Agerter, maybe. Sorry. Usually I'm much better with names. He says, hello from Ohio. Want to smoke a Boston butt? Want to serve pulled pork the next day later? Any advice? So the reason I grouped these two The reason I grouped these two questions together was because they were basically asking similar things about cooking, storing, and reheating food for the next day. So you're gonna cook your Boston butt, your pulled pork. Pull it when it's still hot. It'll be easiest to pull it once it's hot. Ask me how I know. So pull that pork while it's still warm. You don't have to necessarily do your final seasoning or anything to it just yet, but I always suggest pulling it while it's still warm. It'll be the easiest to pull at that point. You can do your not re-seasoning, but your final seasoning, final saucing, and then you can put it away. I, again, use foil pans. I put them in foil pans, so I'm not moving them, taking them in and out of different things, different places multiple times. You can also put them in like a vacuum seal bag, which will make it easy if you're doing like a water bath or something along those lines to reheat that pork. It works. But you can also just take that pulled pork, if it's in a foil pan. We can also take that pulled pork, if it's in a foil pan, put that directly into the oven and warm it up slowly. Again, reheating is warming it up slowly. Reheat things like you are cooking them. At the same temperatures you are cooking them. Between 250 and 300 degrees is where, you know, my sweet spot for reheating foods. Usually it'll take no more than about an hour to reheat a pan. You want to make sure every 15-20 minutes you are opening up that pan and mixing things around, because if you let that pulled pork sit, the edges are going to crisp and brown up and get like the edges on a macaroni and cheese, if you know what I mean. But again, like I said, some people like that. Anyway, thank you guys so very much again as always for watching. Don't forget, you got like probably another day or so to get your questions in, and I will try to get to your questions answered before the end of the month. I cannot thank you guys enough for making this the Ask Dash series, this current iteration of the Ask Dash series, a success. I really want to say thank you to everyone who asked a great question, everyone whose questions I have not gotten answered yet. Those of you who have not asked a question, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and get it done. Thank you. I'll see you guys next time.